Good morning, Uganda. Good morning, everybody. Good morning from wherever you are and you're watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra. Once again, I'm Robert Chidabo, and this time around, we are going to be discussing a very interesting topic, and that is agricultural banking, a welfare bank, or one would refer to it as an economic bank. Now with me in studios, I'm blessed to be having two experts in this field. I have, that is Dr. Esther Akulo, who happens to be the Director, Strategy and Operations. Doctor, you're most welcome to our studios this morning.
Thank you very much, and thank you for hosting us this morning. We are very excited and very happy to be a part of this team, and especially the biggest television network in the country. Thank you so much.
And on my extreme end, I still have Dr. Barije Moses, who is the National Project Coordinator. Doctor, you're indeed welcome to our studios.
Okay, thank you very much, the UBC studio, and the greetings to the viewers. We are here as National Agro-Business Support Initiative, advocating for the National Farmers Bank. Listen as well, we are here to give you the full package about our economic bank.
Well, very interesting. We are now looking at issues of farming, issues of the economy, and of course we know when you mention the word bank, the first thing that comes to Ugandans' mind is they're used to commercial banks. Now here we are bringing in economic bank, agricultural bank. Let me begin with the Dr. Esther. What are we referring to here in the minds of Ugandans? Let's better understand what you're going to be discussing when you talk about an agricultural bank, at the same time called welfare bank, then economic bank.
Thank you again for that question. And like my colleague has said, we are the National Agro-Business Support Initiative, and this is a registered organization that has the mandate of formalizing and orienting families to become family businesses so that we enter into this banking story. And maybe before I talk about what is the economic bank or industrial bank, welfare bank, I need to just talk about maybe development. Development is it has been summed up as a very complicated or complex thing. But I want to assure you that even long before English came here, development was already here in different aspects. But currently, it has been summed up into three very important areas or aspects. The first one is social development. And here we are talking about social aspects or value system, the norms of the society. And most importantly here, we are talking about how the society is evolving or has evolved over the years. The second one is economic development. And this one has to do now where the issues of banking come in. And that is where we shall actually be dwelling in much more, economic development. And the third one here is political development. And the political development has to do with the politics or peace and security of a nation. What I want to emphasize here, for us as the scientists, we are factual, we don't gamble, we speak the truth about, we are not on too much loyalty. So we have summarized this into three aspects. We say that development has the three P's. We have the professor, who is ahead of the economic aspects of development. We have a president who is peace and security, and I must take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda. He has done a fantastic job, and that is why we can comfortably sit here and have such conversations. And then the third one is a profit, or the value system. Like I said, not a particular profit. Someone said, now which profit is she talking about? No. We are talking about the value system, the norms, our culture, our tradition, all that falls in that category. And that one we can talk about it in as much depth as possible. But for today, let us focus on economy, because the state of the economy is the state of everything. A nation without an economy is a failed professor or failed doctors. Thank you very much.
I love the three P's, the president, the prophet, the professor. One handles economics, one handles the religious aspect, the other peace and security. Absolutely. Now, well explained the economy, but I still want to understand better when we talk about this particular bank that is the reason why we are here today. We've had commercial banks in this country. Now we are talking about agricultural bank. At the same time, it's called the welfare bank. Then you're talking about economic bank. What are we really focusing at? What is this that you're introducing to the public?
Thank you very much, the presenter of today. Once again, I'm Dr. Barije Moses, to the viewers, the National Project Coordinator for National Agro-Business Support Initiative. We are here for an economic bank, a farmers bank, an industrial bank, or a welfare bank. The name of this bank, dear viewers, comes from an economic formula which we call assets, liability, and equity. So it means it has the names of this bank are derived from any of the three. If we say that we are going to consider this formula on a primary level, we have the primary asset as land, the primary liability as labor, and the primary equity as fertilizer. So what it means, in fertilizer there is chemistry. In fertilizer is where there is science. So it means if I name this bank depending on the land, I can call it a farmer's bank because we do farming on land. If I can name it depending on the labor, I can call it a union bank. If I name it depending on the fertilizer, I can call it an equity bank, an industrial bank, a welfare bank. Because in this context, what we call owner's equity is a welfare part of the every human being. Because in economics we say that it is owner's equity. Every Ugandan has his or her own equity, but it depends upon the understanding. Because economically, the viewers, economics is mothered by science.
Absolutely.
And in science, we don't gamble. You either have the formula or you don't waste time. So these formulas are it's not me who has driven them. They have been there since 1962, since we got independence. Because when we entered the UN system, we said we are going to enter into a system of social, political, and economic. And in that system, every aspect was given to a specific person to head it, whom I can call the head boy. But what has happened, the head boys of economics in Africa have slept.
Which happen to be them.
I happen to be them, fine, because now me I may say,
on duty,
we have slept. Maybe I have woken up, but we have slept. Because
when you look at development, the three pillars,
yes,
the economy, I have two doctors here, experts in the economy, because the president, peace and security.
Yes, well.
The prophet's all about the spiritual element, morals, and all that.
System,
then
culture.
the economy is entirely in hands of professors, the doctors, the people I'm having this morning.
Yes, please. So what is happening is, the development matter, we have three sections. We have the university, we have the government, and we have the state. In the whole world, all formulas are derived from the universities. So the universities are the power centers of knowledge. If I can put in a local context, you can have a bulb, you have a wire, you have a wire and a battery. So a university is a battery. Then the government is a wire. Then the president is a bulb. So it means the source of energy supply is in the battery. But if the battery is non-functioning, the wires and the bulbs will have
definitely
issues.
will not function.
So at now here, we have come up as the scientists of the new normal. Now we are now on board. We are going to use an economic formula which is international known as assets is equal to liability plus equity. So people do not know. Uganda, the third world country, this formula of assets, liability, and equity is what determines whether a country is first world, second world, or third world.
Yeah.
What happens is, if this formula is subjected to a nation by nationals like Dr. Barija and my group, we call that country a first world country. Because the economic formula is championed in the nation by real nationals. But if this formula is brought here to us by foreigners, we call that country a second world country. What happens in second world country? The formula will develop the nation will develop, But you find the real citizens are like cockroaches.
So that brings me to my question. When you talk about this bank, of course, our viewers, these are doctors, and when you hear formula, let me try to simplify it very clearly. Let me also bring that journalistic element of it, where for us we keep it simple, short, and we use the KISS principle in journalism. So, doctor, in simplicity, the bank you're talking about, how different is it from the current banks that have been existing?
Thank you very much, the viewers. This bank is an economic bank, is a farmers bank, is a union bank. All members in this bank, all people in this bank are members, are not customers. In a commercial bank, when you get an account, you are a customer.
Yeah.
It means you are subject to a charge and a profit in the case of any picking of either withdraw or a loan. But in economic bank all over the world, there is no interest and there is no profit of interest in case you pick money from your own bank. Because this bank is not for Dr. Barije, nor Dr. Esther Kuro, nor Dr. Who. It is a national bank. It is for all of us. Who are the members of the national bank? If a person is because you are using a formula of assets, liability, and equity, we ask, do you have land? But yes, I have land. You are a member in a national bank. Do you have energy? Can you work? But yes, I have energy, I can work. You are a member in a national bank. Do you have equity? Can you provide for us a material for the fertilizer? But yes, I can produce. You are a member of a national bank. So it means there is nobody who can, because the owner's equity, every citizen, as long as you are alive, you have owner's equity. So it means the equity is what brings what you call nationality in this system of the bank. So therefore, how does this bank differ from other commercial banks? The president and the viewers who are seeing me today, a bank system is like a vehicle. You people who have ever driven vehicles, a vehicle has a tank, has an engine. So the fuel moves from the tank to an engine. But when the engine is picking the fuel, some fuel is burnt, another one comes out in a return pipe. We call it a return hose pipe into the tank. So it means the fuel that comes out of the engine to the tank is what we call a profit. Because the engine was supposed to consume it all. But out of the brew, it has consumed the percentage, and the percentage has gone back. So we call it a profit. And that profit is going to be taken back as an investment into the tank to give us an extra mile in the case of another turn. So what happens with commercial banks, what we call the interest of a commercial bank is shared as dividends to the group members of the bank in the country of origin. So it means our economy has no return pipe. So it means what would be the investment money for the profit of the Ugandans' efforts is taken away. Therefore, we are on a decelerating formula. So to develop, we must have a bank of Ugandans that they work, they get profits, then the profits will invest them back into the same bank, then we work, we grow big, we get more profit, we invest them into back. So it means the Ugandans, you are the one to decide, now what should we do? Now, should we go to space science? We start buying rockets. It is up to you because the bank is reinvesting a year after a year. While commercial banks, every year they are escorting dividends to the airport to exit the country. Hence, an economy called an open economy. But when you have a bank that reinvests the profits back into the same bank, we call it a closed economy. So that's what has failed the current economists, not to understand that we are supposed to run economy as a business. At the end of any financial year, we're supposed to register a profit as a nation. But here we're registering public debts. Every year after year. Now the public debt is almost 66 trillion. So there is a problem with economics. So now I'm here with my doctor and the group. We are across all over the country, orienting and formalizing families. What does it mean? Orientation and formalization. 1962, we entered into a UN system.
Is UNESCO.
This is UNESCO. This UN system, UNESCO, after signing this agreement, we entered into a UN system. This is the agreement that made Uganda to become a member of United Nations. We have what we call signs and symbols in science. Under this system, this is a picture of a house. With Uganda, we became a family. In Uganda, we have 3 people. We have the father, the mother, and the children.
Yes.
So in this system, then when the system of banking in UN, it obeys the family behavior. So when you are at home as a father, you cannot fry chapats and sell them between your wife and the children. It's illegal. At home, people eat well, drink well, enjoy, and even waste
for free.
But if you need to have money, you move out and sell to the neighbors. Therefore, if we make a bank, it's a welfare bank to Ugandans. But if we need this bank to make business, we take it to another country to become a commercial bank. What does it mean? All commercial banks are welfare banks, but not all welfare banks are commercial banks. So all commercial banks, where they came from, they are welfare banks. So this is what has been a problem. When you make a business, a bank, and you submit audited books of accounts into the central bank, and you reflect an interest charged to a national, then IMF is there to close your bank because you have disobeyed the family principle. So this is why we have a challenge, but now we have to come back. This UNESCO stands for United Nations Education Scientific Culture Organization. We have orientation and formalization. Under UN system, because they said we are going to enter into a banking system, because the first system was slave trade, where they were using a gun to steal Africans. Actually, I'm happy with His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, when we were in Chankwanzi, he wrote a book saying, where is that book? You have that book here? He wrote a book here, it is that one, saying that how Africa missed the bus of history. This is the book that he wrote. So it means we missed the bus of history. By
going for what UNESCO was not recommending.
Yes, because we before knowing where you are going, you should know where you are coming from.
But this wasn't this intentional.
It is what we call, because the world is, God did not give us natural resources equally. There are some people who have the sun and others have never seen the sun. So for us being along the equator line, we are more advantaged. So the war is between a white man and an African man.
Northern and southern hemisphere.
Let me so now, I wanted to first finish.
Okay, please conclude that.
Let me conclude this one. So this UNESCO is United Nations Education Scientific Culture Organization. What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to unite as a nation. We get education of science in our local language. After that, we organize ourselves and go to the bank. This organization was not to make organization to do what? To enter the what? The bank. Then the bank is the one that empowers trade to get profit. So therefore, a country without its own national bank, when they enter trade, it is a must they make a loss.
Okay, let me come to Dr. Esther. Doctor, let's understand, this seems like a journey of 1,000 miles. And to many Ugandans, there's so much explanation that is needed. But let's understand, which stage are we right now? As far as moving to the dream of having a national bank, some call it a welfare bank, others economic bank, others agricultural bank.
Thank you very much. I must say Dr. Warije has actually done a fantastic job trying to take you back tidbits of history. But then I think one thing that we must appreciate is from the 3 Ps, each one of them has done their part. The president has played an excellent job. This is just one book that he has written. I remember last year he talked about the real economy and a vulnerable economy. What Dr. Warije is calling informal is a vulnerable economy. Vulnerable in the sense that it is, everything is hitting it. So it means that all the 9 things that the president, he said, I remember he listed the first one as food. So we are talking, core to this conversation is agriculture. So that means that every person who lives must eat. But if you must eat, you must earn. So now what he is talking about is if you have land, I know the landlords very recently, the Uganda Landowners Association had a meeting. So landlords of this country have come together, and the patron is His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda. The landlords have land. But also within that, there is labor from these different families, and then there's equity. He's already talked about equity. Another thing I want to talk about here is at what stage, you have said at what stage. Now, NASI, or the National Agribusiness Support Initiative, is a marriage of convenience between the scientists. And again, the president notes that there are factors of production and asset, which is land. There is primary asset, primary liability, primary equity. So the primary asset here is land. So under the factors of production, which we know, the four: land, labor, capital or owner's equity, and entrepreneurship. And there's an element of risk. However, the president again notes that there is knowledge. He called it the fifth factor. He noted the fifth factor as knowledge and market as the sixth factor. Now, in order for us to be able to operationalize this formula, for us as the scientists of Uganda, we have understood this formula in our local languages. If I sit on television like this and I say, it means that the Langese have picked, but someone in China has to maybe Google. Someone in Uganda, so it means that for us as scientists of Uganda, we must localize, we must bring GDP to the local person. We must bring inflation to the local person. So at what stage are we? We are orienting now, and we are very grateful to the president, because the late Kisamba Mugerwa, when we were having these conversations, and may he so rest in peace, because of his exposure to the different nations of this world, he kept saying that there's something, Chivuramu, there's something that is not adding up. I'll tell you that even the former governments, the members who we have oriented, all of them are agreeing that waliwo Chivuramu. So now that means that in order to have a good conversation, sometimes you have to have it in your local language. So this marriage of convenience between the scientists, and I'll tell you, I want to thank the people in Katwe, the herbalists, the traditionalists. Those are actually the real scientists. Because what do? They go to God's pharmacy. They go to God's pharmacy are the plants, nature. That is science. So in God's pharmacy, they are able to pick and say, for malaria, mururuza. For diarrhea, this. For deworming, use, what do you call it? Popo seeds. So there are solutions. So that means that when the president is talking, however, our limitation is on micro nature of seeing things, the I business. So for us, the scientists of Uganda, we are moving away from I, which is micro, to macro. What do we mean? We are saying that Dr. Barije, in this Uganda, he said Uganda is a family. There are units or households or farms in Uganda which are micro. So I am a micro, you are a micro, he is a micro. However, when we come together, we become macro. So that means that we are projecting ourselves to start looking international. Dr. Barije did not tell you something. He's a very, very cheeky guy. There are games that are played. There's what they call monopoly. That is what the commercial banks are playing. Monopoly. They are monopolizing that space because no one is challenging them. And yet the president, in his 10-point program, he said that it's a mixed economy, private sector-led, local-led, and for the first time in the history of this country, I want to thank His Excellency again for bringing the private sector of Uganda into one room, demystifying our relationships, and also bringing the heads of government institutions that work with the private sector. URS sit in one room, URSB sit in one room, PPD sit in one room, Civil Aviation sit in one room, National Housing sit in one room, and talk to these micros. Or in his address in Chankwanzi recently, he said, you are micro. So he understands the game.
He understands the economic
and he's written it. So what I would encourage Ugandans, let us know that there is a knowledge era. This knowledge era has been there in the last 100 years. And wake up. He says wake up. Scientists have woken up in the villages. Our teams, the foot soldiers, have woken up. They are alert to this. I want to thank them.
Talking about them having woken up.
Yes.
Dr. Barije and Dr. Esther, one of the things that comes to my mind, and of course, like I said, it's a journey of 1,000 miles. We've been doing things differently. And now you're bringing in new ideas where you believe this can cause economic transformation. And one of them saying that we should have a national bank where clearly people here are not aiming at maximization of profits, but they are aiming at ensuring that they lift one another in terms of ensuring that we can have development in various projects, most of the agriculture sector. Do you think that this is going to be an easy breakthrough given the usual culture that we are used to, given the ease that commercial banks have put in place for people to get loans, return, you know? It could be hard to pay back, or maybe high interest rates. But this seems the norm of doing things.
Thank you very much. The easiest of this thing is just based on orientation. Because what makes people fail to do what they are supposed to do is lack of knowing what to do and how to do it. So National Agribusiness Support Initiative, the team, my foot soldiers, they are there. We have managed to train the coordinators who are not paid, not even a coin. But by virtue of understanding what to do, with that zeal, they are moving, they don't have water to drink, they are walking, somebody comes, reach there, starts teaching, you look at the person who has knowledge, but they know how he looks. Then you even doubt.
Let's just go for a break. We'll begin at that, where we have volunteers to push forward this vision, this dream, where scientists are saying they have woken up to transform the economy. We'll return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
Raising voices.
I feel happy when my mother spends time with me. I hope all mothers will like my mother. I want my mother to reach out to all mothers. She knows how important it is to be a good mother. I promise to help my mother inspire other mothers to change.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. It is Good Morning Uganda Extra, and we are still looking at agribusiness in Uganda, more so having, that is what we refer to an agricultural bank or a welfare bank or an economic bank. And I have two experts here in this regard who are still giving us more insight, more information of some of the generational mistakes that could have been made regarding our economy, and how best we can change systems to ensure we improve them for the better. Before we went for this break, Doctor, you were still talking about how best efforts you're doing to ensure that all Ugandans get to understand, get to view things in this perception away from the current normal that they're used to.
What we are doing is to have the ground of orientation in the whole country. And I thank the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Last year, he received us and he gave us the platform. I thank the General Salim Sadakandwanaho, whom I also met, and we made some discussions. And the Vice President, the former Chiwanuka Sekande, They have given us a ground praise, and the Minister of Internal Affairs and Foreign Affairs have talked with them. So they have really supported us in one way or another. So what we have done, we have managed to train a number of coordinators in the whole country. Every district, we have the coordinators, but we have not yet covered them, like maybe Karangara, those which are offshores. But we have some regional coordinators, at least I can issue, like phone numbers of regional coordinators. Don't mind any district you are in, you just call any number of the numbers I'm going to read. Immediately you will get the connection from the nearby service, because you have done that.
Later, it is later.
That we shall do later on. Numbers.
Okay, so we are now, we are putting the emphasis on orientation, because one, you cannot take people in the bank when they don't know what they are going to do there and how they are going to do it. So we are going to make what we call, each family is becoming a company. We are forming what we call family companies, because there is what we call informal economy. Informal economy, it means the government is formal, but is dealing with families which are informal. So the government can sue the families, but the families cannot sue the government. So the relationship is what we call policy, and is a ROS. So what we have to do, if you have to move from micromanagement to macro management, a family is managed as a formal family, not as informal family. That's why each family is required to get a certificate of incorporation. And how to do it, and how to draft those things, we have our coordinators there guiding them on the steps, because we know most of our people, they are not educated as such. They may not know how these things are done. So, but we have managed to simplify things so that they can understand what exactly to do. So basically, is formalization is moving on, and we have now gone at around 600 families already registered across the country. It's a good number, and I appreciate the landlords who have registered. I've appreciated the equity people who have registered. Really, the thing is moving well. Yesterday I was in Kamuri, and today I will be in Kaliro, and tomorrow, 8th, we shall be in Chiriandongo. We are opening up the districts across the country.
This brings me to Dr. Esther.
Yes.
Please more clarify on this formalization process, because I'm thinking in my mind, and I know many viewers are thinking of this, when these people are talking of a bank, I hope you're not yet to receive application letters for jobs as well. What bank is this? What building is it? But this seems more technical. When you listen to the explanation, please demystify more regarding this nature and, of course, banking for Ugandans, because many times we've seen Ugandans are eager to test out new waters, but sometimes we don't understand very well the new waters, and we get these backlashes.
Thank you very much. What Dr. Barigi has said is, this is a system. I must tell you again, in 2016, you know, I read the president a lot. In 2016, he said China joined the UN system in 1982. And the biggest bank is actually an agricultural bank in China. That means that there exists a system. Now, what Dr. Barigi has said is that system is now what we must demystify in our local language, according to our culture, because the UNESCO is a commission. We were commissioned. Nations were commissioned. Go do it. However, one thing we must note is knowledge. This knowledge era. Knowledge is, when you have knowledge, you're powerful. So having knowledge is a very, very important thing. And this is where I thank all the elders of Uganda. This nation has had the best. This nation has had opportunity, but there is something that people are not tapping into, that is knowledge. And now when you get the young people in this knowledge era, they are amazing. There is a lot of innovation going on, but this innovation, when it comes and there is no system to support them, it dies. So what we are saying is this economic system is going to organize production. Organize production, that means production, primary production. And then it's also going to organize consumption, and it is going to organize distribution.
Let's look at the three.
Yeah.
Production, distribution. How is this system going to do that?
Okay.
Thank you very much, the presenter. Organized production and organized consumption. When you enter macro arrangement, it means now you have entered a macro, an organized production and organized consumption. How? If we are doing agriculture, or if you are making any industrialization or production of anything, for example, In agriculture, each family is going to produce a type of food. If it is beans, it is one family. If it is nuts, it is one family. So we produce, each family produces
specialization and division
specialization of a produce. Then you take it into a general store for consumption. If it is you are to manufacture a camera like the one I'm seeing, it means we ask how many parts of a camera. We say it is 1,000 parts. So it means each family should have a line of producing a part, so that when you produce a right hand of a leg of a camera, 1,000, we have produced 1,000 cameras. That is organized production and organized consumption. So in macro arrangement, we work as a team. We don't separate ourselves. Then we assume, when we are developing, you don't develop as Dr. Barije. We have to develop as Uganda as a nation. Because when we say that Uganda is a third world country, they don't talk of Dr. Barije. We as a bundle. So right now, we are now acting towards the cry of the president that we are supposed to move from micro management to macro management. And the way to go is formalizing families, having a bank, controlling the macro management system.
I love the word controlling, that's the macro management system. But let's also now, Doctor, understand you can't make a breakthrough giving information, but there's also one important thing that I want us to focus on. In your explanation, it seems we are moving into more of e-systems. And this is the bedrock of such banking. How prepared are Ugandans really towards that? I think of my grandfather in Kasoga Kakuto, the board of Uganda and Tanzania. Then I think of my other, just board of... How prepared are the people? Because, you know, most of our farmers are, okay, big number, could be illiterate, not very exposed. Here you're coming in with something new, something that they have been used to physical presence. How have you prepared these minds, and how prepared are they? China technology has been there for years, and they have embraced it wholeheartedly. Come back home to Uganda.
Thank you very much for that question. How are they prepared is a good question. And I begin with orientation. A person is like a computer. A person's mind is like a computer. What you put in is what comes out. So the biggest task we have now is orienting the families to know what to do. After they have known, each family or each company is supposed to give us a student or a son or a daughter who can be shaped faster to understand how to manage a family on behalf of a nation. Because you're going to have family managed, and the old books of accounts submitted to a group, and the group submits into the bank for the macro management. So the big task is orientation and make sure these people understand. One, economy is a system. A bank is an economic system. These people who we call first world, they made the system because they knew what to do and how to do it. So it's okay, we have dread and we have slept. I'm sorry, see me, I'm young, but there are those who are older than me, the big professors with gray beard. Me, my bald head is still young, I can have some small hair. There are those ones we don't have anything. But since we have known, we are asking, should we say that now we are late, we live better late than never?
Dr. Esther, as we wind up, let me have your final shot.
Yes. My final shot, one is we are not blaming anybody. And I must say, those who went before us or who are ahead of us, especially Government of Uganda has given us an enabling environment. And that is why when he gives salutations to the different ministries that have supported us, we are aware of that fact. Government now, for example, is pursuing the parish development model. This has one pillar, which is mindset change, and we are driving on that. What he is saying is we need to change our minds. Time has come for Ugandans to adjust to new knowledge. And what Nasi is saying we are promoting everything equitably equitable land fertility, equitable land fragmentation, equitable post-harvest management, equitable marketing for Ugandans as a nation. So we are appealing to government and to His Excellency that you commissioned us, you met us, and this is now the time for us to have structured conversations. And I must thank the PSST, Mr. Ramadan Gobi. He has noted that wait a minute, in this meeting that we last had, he said, this is now an opportunity for us to have structured conversations. So that means that if I am a Ugandan and I have knowledge, I need to be listened to in maybe a certain way and from a certain environment. And that is my appeal to Ugandans. We are for you, we are for, and even for the international people, because what he's talking about, the bank we are talking about, is going to be a local and international. So it means that Uganda's taxes will naturally increase, because when you're doing taxation, you do not tax land, you do not tax liability, but you tax equity. So that means that a percentage, every household will willfully pay taxes. Right now, my friend the Commissioner General is rolling out a system called IFRIS, and I must tell you, it is not an easy thing. Definitely. Because of the same thing that you're talking about. So IFRIS is not bad, but when you have an informal majority who are contributing over 71% to your country's GDP, then you need to speed. But that is how the nations are growing. So we must adjust and fit in. We are talking about stock markets. This bank is going to take Uganda to conversations of a stock market. When Kampala stock market wakes up, New York stock market maybe at that point is sleeping. Japan stock market is awake. So we are talking about complete conversations which are not only localized, but we first have to fix our internal matter. And this, again, I want to emphasize, is an internal matter. It is an internal issue. It is an internal conversation. So when the commercial banks are talking, even them, they have their internal conversations, by the way. So for us, we are for Ugandans. We are for the men, the women, the children of this nation, for the landlords. Thank you very much for hosting us. We are really appreciative. We shall see you in Kaliro this afternoon. Thank you.
Well, let me have your final remarks, Doctor.
Thank you very much, the viewers who are viewing us, for your time, and the presenter. I really thank you, and the team UBC for giving us the time to be with you. To finalize with, I would like to request all the viewers, this is all families in Uganda, to look where National Agribusiness Support Initiative services are. You come, you get more information about this, because this is just air. We are giving you just a tip to open up your eyes. All organized farmers organization. Now farmers, circles, what then we can now. So let me read for you the viewers, the numbers of the coordinators in respective regions. I'm going to give you Central Region. We have Dr. Milton Mugweri, 0772 89 58 44. Then Western Region, we have Nsamba Pius, also our doctor, 0789 38 61 41. Northern Uganda, we have Dr. Jane Akelo, 0775 17 26 24. Eastern Region, we have Dr. Oruka Sara Nikore, 0776 79 03 03 then 4.
Okay.
0776 74 74 90 34. That is Dr. Sarah Nikore.
We need.
Okay. Well, Doctor, in the interest of time, I want to thank you so much. That is Dr. Barija Moses, who happens to be the National Project Coordinator, and also Dr. Esther Akulo, who is that is the Director, Strategy and Operations, the National Agriculture Business Support Initiative. Thank you so much for finding time. It is a dream to come true. but it takes so much of orientation and of course explaining to the people of Uganda where our economy should move in this direction. One of the things I've learned in this discussion is development is steered by 3 persons, and these are the triple P's, that is the prophet, the president, and the professors. And it seems the experts, the professors that now handle the economic bit of it, while the president handles that is peace and security. Then we have the prophet, morals, religious aspect, could be sleeping. However, they say they have woken up. We hope and pray that we shall have such live to see the test of time and of course change our direction of economic management. Have a lovely day. God bless you. Keep it with us here on UBC TV, and don't forget to go for your COVID-19 jab. Stay safe.
Thank you.